Welcome to the NISA Game of the Week. Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, Tennessee is the site. Chattanooga FC and Stumptown Athletic Club squaring off. As we take a look at the NISA standings, Detroit City FC and Chattanooga FC already with a spot in the semifinal. The LA Force in the driver's seat for the postseason. Stumptown needs to win the last three and get an LA loss later tonight to get to the semifinals. Hi, everybody. I'm Trey Bender alongside Devin Kerr. Glad you're with us. This Stumptown AC team still mathematically alive, trying to get some momentum here, as is Chattanooga, who already has a spot in the semifinal round.
The biggest talking point, Trey, is the fact that Stumptown still have an opportunity to progress through. 3 games in hand. The problem is they've got to do some chasing. For Chattanooga, they're still chasing the ghost. That is the 4-1 victory against LA Force back on April 13th. They haven't even begun to tap into their potential since then.
Well, Stumptown lately has played good soccer. They're hoping that carries over into this one.
The biggest issue they've run into, to be honest, isn't that their form has been poor. It's the fact that the results that they've gotten against the teams in front of them. The one loss is against LA Force, and it's great that they backed it up with a couple of wins. But when you lose to the team and LA Force in front of you, Detroit City, of course, leading the way, as well as Cal United, you put yourself in a really difficult spot, Trey. Now, even though they have games in hand, most coaches will tell you they'd rather have points up on the board instead of having to track down the competition come playoff time.
Chattanooga, meanwhile, a healthy team, and they're starting to find things, starting to find their form.
Health, that's the most important thing, like you said. The ability to actually choose your roster as opposed to letting those variables dictate it for you. I mentioned the 4-1 victory against LA Force. They backed it up with a 3-0 victory against New Amsterdam. But they have also struggled against some other teams around them. The biggest thing for them is the fact that they got into the semifinal match because of their performance in the Legends Cup. The biggest negative part of that, though, was the fact that they got into the semifinal. They've really been struggling to find any sort of fluidity in their performances, Trey. Regardless of players, regardless of injuries or red cards, they have taken ownership of that. Now it's time to dig down deep and go out and get a quality result.
Rainy night, Chattanooga and Stumptown ready to go from Finley Stadium. Lineups are next.
It's time to meet tonight's starting lineup. First, the visitors, Stumptown AC. Starting goal, number 1, Kevin Gonzalez. Number 13, Giovanni Maharna. Number 20, Jacob Brown. Number 8, Luis Garcia Sosa. Number 14, Dylan Greenberg. Number 9, Robert Wise. Number 22, Frankie Martinez.
The players take the field here at Finley Stadium in Chattanooga. Chattanooga FC on the home turf against Stumptown AC. Let's take a look at the Chattanooga lineup, brought to you by Southern Honda Power Sports. And a couple strikers are in the spotlight here.
Good stuff for Peter Fuller here. They had some success in the second half comeback against 1904, and they're going to continue that route, Trey. So you're going to bring K-Sack and Cameron Woodford into the wingback position. Russell, Dixon, and Spielman anchoring the back line with Robertson in front as the 6 gives them the luxury to still create a 4 if need be. And this attack moving forward, it's all about trying to replicate that 4-1 victory back on April 13th. This is a very similar personnel. The difference is the boys up top to your reference, Hofstadter and Marcano. It's great when you can defend as well as Chattanooga has, only giving up about a goal a game. But it's poor when they get into the final third. 8 goals scored in 7 games. They've got to find a way to tickle the nylon much more frequently if they want to have success in that semifinal matchup. Now is the time where they can dig deep and allow guys like Hofstadter and Marcano to have fun on the offensive side of the ball.
The Stumptown lineup. Their goalkeeper has played well, Kevin Gonzalez.
He's been fantastic, and the 3 shutouts are great for him, of course. 2 versus New Amsterdam, 1 versus Detroit City. I'll get to that in a second. You're going to want to keep an eye on the left-hand side here because Reese Williams will slide in. He'll go into the left-back spot. Dylan Greenberg is going to be an interesting one for me. Are they going to allow him to stay on the inside? Are they going to push him to the out in front of Williams? A lot of times they'll sit 3 in the midfield, then stack 2 in front, and then Ramos Godoy. It's all going to come down to 2 players, though, for Stumptown Athletic. Kevin Gonzalez, I referenced initially. Luis Garcia Sosa is another one. Why I say Gonzalez is this: he's a great goalkeeper. He's able to keep clean sheets for sure. The problem is he hasn't exactly done it against great competition. 1 shutout against Detroit City. Everybody else has been able to find the back of the net. Now, that's not all on the goalkeeper, Trey. That's on the defensive line as well in front of him. Garcia Sosa, a difference maker. He's the guy who can get them into the final third. They got to find a way to work off of him.
Kickoff comes up next. Chattanooga, Tennessee, ready for soccer. Just moments ago, Captain Juan Hernandez honored 100 career matches with Chattanooga FC. Quite a career for the midfielder. Peter Fuller's bunch as we take a look at the Chattanooga Keys, brought to you by Crystal Air.
Already discussed a little bit of it at Trey, and it's the fact that though they have assured themselves a spot in that semifinal match, The results haven't gone their way, neither have the performances. What it comes down to is pride. You have to dig deep as a player and find that special spot to push yourself to a positive result. Pride, approaching the Olympics, that's what those guys played for back then. Now is the time to find that form come playoff match.
Little room for error, meanwhile, for Stumptown and Rod Underwood. He feels his club has gotten better throughout the course of this season. Let's take a look at their keys.
Well, I mentioned Kevin Gonzalez, the goalkeeper, but Luis Garcia Sosa is their difference maker. They're going to find him as much as possible, but they got to spread the wealth. You still have Ramos Godoy, Travis Ward, McGrath through in the midfield. Their ability to attack is fantastic. The problem is they're relying too much on one or two players. They got to start to spread the field out, spread the wealth, and challenge Chattanooga defensively.
Well, Mother Nature has drawn the spotlight here as we get underway. Rain throughout the day, a wet field. You've played in these conditions, Devin. It'll change the course of this game in one way, shape, or form.
The good news is for the players is that they knew what they were coming into. Sometimes when you line up for these matches, Trey, you might not have the right studs on. You can be taken back a little bit by the fact that a system has moved in. That's not the case. Forecast in this manner all day long, so they will have been briefed as to what it's going to be like. That extra skip off the ground, the ball's going to move much faster, and you have to time your footing and your runs differently because of the conditions.
Stumptown coming off a 1-1 tie with Cal United. Chattanooga a tie as well. Here's Travis Ward, ability to get forward, across, into the box. And right away an opportunity as Gio Godoy had a shot on frame there. Alex McGrath has a couple goals in this spring season. One thing Rod Underwood has said about the Stumptown team, they've been a united bunch. They've had some injuries. A lot of teams have here at NISA. He's proud of the way they've played, and there's a foul here in the early going on a breakaway.
Super kind of the locals early on to let him know that maybe overstepped his boundaries a little bit here for Stumptown Athletic on the foul on Chattanooga. The ability to spread the field here, Trey, is going to be an interesting one because they've got players with pace, precision as well. The question mark is the balance going to be there? They play a lot through Tate Robertson, Ian McGrath, and Juan Hernandez, and we've seen movement on one side of the field, but the ability to dictate that tempo on both sides has escaped Peter Fuller and his team for quite some time. If they can complete that, that's going to be a real cause for concern for Stumptown.
Cameron Woodfin, one of those guys who has great pace. Throw in opportunity here for Hofstadter. Top of the box. McGrath settles things down on the right flank for Robert Hines. Plays that one forward. Nick Spielman back there, the center back for Chattanooga FC. You've been impressed with his game. Terrific passer, good on the tackle.
He's great in distribution as well, and as Tate Robertson just drops back in, the great thing about Spielman is he's a converted midfielder. I actually started my career in the same fashion where I was a holding midfielder, playing as a 6'8", and then worked myself onto the back line. He did the same thing at both Lincoln Memorial and Eastern Tennessee State. So the ability from a vision perspective, he sees the game extremely well. He knows what's in front of him. And then you have to have great communication, not just on the back line, but to be a successful midfielder. He's got both. So that transition in Peter Fuller's system been really easy for him. And it doesn't hurt when you have guys like Sean Russell and Richard Dixon on the outside of you to help this defense.
Here's Hernandez, the captain, playing it back for Spielman. He played his college ball at East Tennessee State. Here's Dixon, their veteran. Far post, cross, headed into the air. And an opportunity on that far post goes up over the bar. And Dixon got it started with a good ball in there. And that was Hofstadter involved in that play.
Oh, he gets tangled up here with Kevin Gonzalez. I love how high they've pushed Richard Dixon into the attack. That's some of the balance I talked about. It challenges guys like Reese Williams and Frankie Martinez on the back line to account for extra runners. Hofstadter taking the full brunt of this ball as it comes back across. Gonzalez actually stutters, gets the spacing wrong, and then gets tangled up with Hofstadter on the backside. I love the fact, the phrase that you use, Trey, coming in to the Legends Cup early on, and you took the quote from Peter Fuller and he called him the Swiss Army knife. That's exactly right. And they need him to be exactly that when he's paired up next to someone like Ryan Marcano, who is a pure athlete. He's going to give you the presence. Height-wise, it's not exactly there, but he's got pace. He's got the quickness for sure, speed and strength. Hofstadter now has to find a way to bridge the gap from balls coming from the outside as well as right down through the middle.
And that one flicked towards the goal, wide of the mark. As Chattanooga FC making some noise here early in the first 5 minutes. No Brian Bement or Marcus Nagelstad as attacking players, at least as starters in this one. We're seeing Ryan Marcano in that role. And the move to the 3-5-2, explain that for Chattanooga, why they have gone that route.
Well, this is a team, to be fair, that was previously set up in this fashion. And for Peter Fuller, he just understands that for them, it's not always about formation. It's more about spatial awareness. And to be honest, I think this suits them better. The way that they can break teams down, the way that they can build from back forward because of the pace. And you have good ball guys like Hernandez and McGrath who are extremely technical. Tate Robertson is the one who kind of glues all of that together. And the fact that he can play a 6, he can play in the midfield, you know, as an outside wing, you can play him all over. Multiple guys, we talked about Spielman as well, who have a great understanding of other positions on the field is why it sets up so well. They had moved away from it, and they'd gone into a 4-3-3 style system. They're searching, Trey, and that's about the victory that I talked about. But his bread and butter has always been the 3-4-2 with the ability to morph. The fact that they got success against 1904 is why they've gone back to it, and they're hoping that that can continue forth here in their final couple matches.
Well, and as long as they're clicking and they've got everything oiled up and ready to go, all cylinders cooking for the semifinals, that's the ultimate goal here. Make sure the chemistry is just right. Sean Russell, 27-year-old, on that back line with Spielman. There's a misplayed ball there and possession for Stumptown. Stumptown knows they're going to have to play perfect here and get some help tonight. They need to win their last 3 matches and hope that LA falters tonight in their only game left in the regular season. If they're going to make the semifinal round, Stumptown needs some help there. They can't worry about that. They got to worry about Chattanooga first.
Yeah, don't scoreboard watch. The most important thing is control the controllables. All right, I mentioned spreading the wealth. Just focused on the 90 minutes right in front of you. Don't think about what LA Force is or is not going to do against New Amsterdam FC. And the fact that New Amsterdam is coming off a quality result, that's great. The problem is that might be a pretty tall ask to then take down LA Force, who has 5 victories on the season. And for Stumptown, you see the match tonight, then to turn around 1904 and Michigan Stars. The only saving grace I will say, Trey, is that if they can get a result tonight and LA Force step off the pedal a little bit, 1904 and Michigan Stars, though they can play the spoiler, they don't really have much more to play for within the rest of the season. Pride, of course, that I made that reference, but they can shut it down and start to focus on, mid-season come summertime.
Robertson with the corner kick, far post. And they'll keep it on this end, a corner on the other side now. And, you mentioned that if they do get the result they want in an LA loss, they control their own destiny. That would give you that added incentive, wouldn't it, for your final 2 matches?
And I've been in situations, whether it's a cup run at the professional level, working through college at the tail end of a season, as well as the youth level, Trey, where teams that are out, it's hard for them to find motivation. So if Stumptown go get a victory, it's not easy sailing, but it's a better path for them for sure.
Robertson through the box with that one, and a goal kick coming, much to the chagrin of Marcano over there. You probably hear the rain falling on the microphones near the pitch. It's rained throughout the day and makes for a soggy field. Playing through it here, and pretty good movement thus far on both sides.
Conditions definitely not affecting them right now. You and I were talking about it coming on air. I just said, you know, is this storm going to stay south of them? So far, so good.
It's Ian McGrath crossing one into the box. Dixon. Boy, they're glad to have him back. Such a great leader, another coach on the field. He's dealt with injury this season. Did not play in the NISA Legends Cup. And a foul here as Hofstadter makes his move into the attacking third.
They're doing a really good job in terms of build from the back forward for Chattanooga FC. Juan Hernandez honored pregame, helping out Tape Robertson, who sits as the lone six. Ian McGrath pushing forward. Nothing new by any means, but you wondered what the relationship would look like on this front line for Chattanooga with the addition of Marcano to the lineup. McGrath pushing through, creates a three-headed monster, starts to really challenge that back four of Stumptown, especially when you get a trailing run of a Woodfin or a Kasek who's willing to cut inside as well.
It'll be Robertson. He's a specialist in set pieces, and that's just over the foot of Ian McGrath, trying to keep that one in. Ian McGrath has 3 goals this season, a couple of them against New Amsterdam.
It's not a terrible ball by any means. The run's off, though. This has to start from the outside and work itself back in. That's a reach of a hope and a prayer for Ian McGrath, trying to bring this back across the box. This is an area that Peter Fuller has talked to us about in their set pieces, trying to find a way to get that right trait. Timing was the main issue for them. Loved what he said, and it was about quality and timing, the right guys in the box, and then finding a way to combine all three together. Those were the 3 points. His timing was the main issue for them. He feels like personnel-wise, they have a really good understanding of how to be successful on set pieces. And the problem is, and that's a really good representation of it, when a ball gets swung into the back post there, you got to time that differently if you're moving forward off the peeling run. Ian McGrath is the isolated incident here, but whether it's McGrath, Hofstadter, anybody, have to be a better understanding of how you want this to play out, and that just comes down to communication. What sort of signals are you sending so that when this ball does get whipped in, you know exactly where it's coming?
Well, they were an offensive juggernaut at the start of the NISA Legends Cup. 4 goals against the LA Force, 3 more against New Amsterdam. Have struggled since trying to generate offense, but again, this new 3-5-2 alignment could be the magic that gets things headed in the right direction.
67 days, my friend, since that 4-1 victory. Think about the amount of time that is, by the way. I mean, that's, again, that can really mess with the mental well-being of players. And Peter Fuller, talking to him about it, he recognized that. He said, listen, these guys are just, they're down in the dumps a little bit. But understanding that even though it hasn't gone your way, this is still one of the most talented teams in the entire league. And the fact that you've got that ace in the hole in your back pocket, that no matter what result it is, you have an opportunity in the semifinal match. That is the hope for Peter Fuller and the rest of his staff, that these guys understand they have a great opportunity. They don't want to stumble into that semifinal game. They want to come in full force, but it's got to start here.
And it could be the LA Force that would be the semifinal opponent for Chattanooga FC, unless Stumptown can come up with an amazing finish. Be one of those two opposite Chattanooga in that semifinal matchup. Bejarano fouled. That's Marcano, the guilty party. You know, when we followed this Chattanooga team, we've seen them a lot this season. So much talk about Nagelstad and Brett Jones, who came on, and Bement. They've got some weapons. They're just trying to make the chemistry fit together, but they've got a lot of people that have that attacking ability.
Well, suspensions, injuries, seems like anything that could plague this team has definitely hit them so far. Stumptown Athletic haven't had to deal with as many variables as that, but it goes back to the chemistry, or lack thereof, I should say, for Chattanooga moving forward. I would say that for Stumptown, for them it's about execution, Trey. You know, they've got quality build. You're seeing it play out right in front of your eyes right now. They just got to finish. It's that simple. They provide themselves opportunities. They've battled against some high-quality teams. Everybody looks at Detroit City. I talked to Trevor James about that, and he said they were a handful. That was one of the most difficult matches we've played all season, but they couldn't finish. You know, if you're on the road, if you're at home, it doesn't matter what the statistics look like. 15, 20 shots. You got to be able to hit the back of the net, and I would say that's their main issue, is they don't really have a true number 9, whether it's Ramos Godoy, Sosa stepping in, Travis Ward helping out. They don't have that one focal point at the striker spot. It's kind of trial by fire as they move into the final third.
Garcia Sosa has been a consistent guy in the midfield for them. They've used him as a connector. He's been a difference maker. Almost 16 minutes in, first half. Stumptown mathematically still alive for the semifinal round. That semifinal in a couple weeks. Chattanooga FC is already in that semifinal matchup. And that semifinal will be played at Keyworth Stadium in Michigan, as will the championship. Woodfin in the corner. And he earns, does he earn a corner kick opportunity? I believe he does. And Robertson will do the honors. Speaking of guys that are connectors, this guy, tremendous at setting the table. You touched on it a little bit about number 7. Robertson's corner kick, far post and over the head of everybody. Well, you mentioned Bement and Nagelstad, red cards against the Michigan Stars. They've missed action during the spring season. They're on the bench watching right now.
Haven't been exactly great either, and Nagelstad, Bement, both injuries. Remember the cast he used to have on his arm back in the Legends Cup. A journeyman, and picked up a strange injury in training just before that. Took him a long time to, referencing the Legends Cup, to actually get back, and then it was the hamstring. Remember Peter Fuller talking to us about how it was kind of just the fact that these plaguing injuries that weren't necessarily long-term effects for him outside of the MCL that he did. He'd be out 2-3 weeks at a time, and Nagelstad, something similar. You know, picked up an injury in that opening 4-1 win and has really struggled to find his way back into this system ever since.
He has a couple goals, one against the Michigan Stars on a PK and a goal against the LA Force. Jake Krim. Here is Alex McGrath. Frankie Martinez out of New York City. Greenberg playing up in the attacking third, number 14. Garcia Sosa. It was Ward trying to set things up. Took a lot of time on the dribble. Rod Underwood mentioned to us preseason he's excited about building this club as that one is played forward to Reddington, and about getting better, making the game better for the next generation. He really sees the big picture.
Ramos Godoy's trying to figure out the big picture on this. No call as he got rocked inside the box. Everybody looking to the referee. You hear the noises from the sideline. Didn't like the pressure he received.
Play there by Hines. Ward. Play multiple positions for this squad. They've used him as a forward. Inaugural season for Stumptown AC out of Matthews, North Carolina. Chattanooga FC. Automatic berth in the semifinal after getting the tie-breaking edge at the NISA Legends Cup. Garcia Sosa turning,
Trey,
playing it back for Greenberg.
This is where they're struggling with their space right now in the midfield. They're doing a great job defensively with Greenberg, Bejarano Navia, and Alex McGrath. The way that Sosa drops in to help out. Almost dropped themselves into a flat 4 when Travis Ward comes back with Dylan Greenberg underneath. The problem is when they start to move forward, they pinch it into a 3, and they're sort of following each other side to side. It's not the end of the world, but you have to have some sort of presence. So, for instance, if Greenberg, Bejarano, and Garcia Sosa start to shift to the right and build there, Reese Williams has to come inside a little bit and help out if they want to try and find a way to split that avenue and come the other direction. When they are building and they look for that presence, it's just not there. So they're stuck in one area of the field. It makes it much easier for Chattanooga to step in and apply pressure.
This one headed in the box. Play back for McGrath. Hines with it. Here is Williams, deflected, top of the box. He's an up and down type player, had a goal against Cal United. Here's Ward now. Williams on the flank. Ward chips for Godoy. Could be a counter the other way now for Chattanooga FC. A little bit of space. Woodfin. Garcia Sosa, and he'll be the guilty party here as he picks up the foul in the center circle. Knocking down Dixon.
Finite example, Trey, but notice how when they do start to build out there was the balance. The bottom side of this triangle where Sosa's sitting in front. Dylan Greenberg able to connect with him, and that's because he had the left and right option. You could play out through one direction, you could go the other way. That keeps Chattanooga honest as well. You know, this back three, especially with the way they're trying to push forward Richard Dixon as much as possible. That means Cameron Woodfin plays a higher line. That means there's more space readily available on this left-hand flank. Opposition's going to give it to you. Just take it. It's real easy for a player to understand where that space is coming from, and if they're not picking it up, it's got to be a quick little conversation from the sideline.
No reason to force it, but take what they give you. Ian McGrath, diagonal ball. And that shot wide of the net from distance. Ambitious.
Trey, you would have hit that too.
I would have given it a shot.
I know you would have. I know you
wouldn't have
very
looked
well.
good as that strike, obviously.
We got to get you out on the field, man. I'm going to send you some studs. Here's the deal.
I'm sitting back and playing on that back line with you if I'm playing.
Okay, fair enough.
It's all about defense.
That's right. You pick your strong strengths, if you will. I'll help you out. Don't worry.
Better have a good keeper back there. And, you know, Reddington and Gonzalez have been pretty good, especially when you think about Gonzalez for Stumptown. He's really given them a boost.
He's had a couple of performances this season that just stand out amongst his peers. Kevin Gonzalez. 2 shutouts in the spring season. 1 as well in the Legends Cup. And for a team, and I mentioned this to you before, I still feel it, has extremely high ceiling for themselves. They go 1-1-1 in their 3 games. They did have an opportunity come final match to push themselves through. They needed results to go the right way. It didn't happen. But I like this kid, Reese Williams, at outside back. I think the 2 center backs can do just fine for themselves. Kevin Gonzalez, good goalkeeper. Of course, Garcia Sosa and Travis Ward are names that are going to stand out. Who's going to help him in that striker spot? As mentioned, that's been the Achilles heel for this team, primarily the entire Legends Cup and spring season.
Nice play there by Jake Krim defensively, intercepting that one. Experienced player, a ball winner. That was a book on him, and he won that ball.
Notice how deep Tate Robertson is dropping in to get himself on the ball. That's totally fine. The problem is Juan Hernandez, as mentioned previously, who is coming back to help out, playing much higher. Both he and Ian McGrath, just different positioning right now. McGrath right around the center circle, coming back through it anyway. And so there's been a gap over the past 5 minutes of about 10 to 12 yards. Very difficult to connect through, especially the way that Stumptown have gone flat in their midfield with Bejarano and Greenberg.
Bejarano from Columbia fouled there as they restart. 27 minutes in, first half. Important game for Stumptown, trying to keep their postseason hopes alive, though slim that they are. They need to win their final 3 matches and get an LA loss tonight to get to the semifinals. It starts with a tough matchup here at Chattanooga. Cole Green, our referee here. And here's a free kick opportunity. Alex McGrath. And Garcia Sosa, it'll be McGrath. Bends it in there, and it'll be a goal kick off the foot of a teammate in the box. That was Travis Ward. How about Chattanooga FC with Reddington now as the keeper? Phil D'Amico, broken foot. He is out for the rest of this season. That's been a transition for them, though this guy, they expected him to play a prominent role this season.
It's kind of funny how that works out, right? The revolving door at the goalkeeper position, where for quite some time you have a real good idea of who the #1 is wearing the sweater is every week. Alec Reddington coming into the Legends Cup. Was great in the tourney last fall and then injured. D'Amico steps in. Does a fine job for the most part. Again, little issues within the back line finding what that was going to look like, but you can't always point at the goalkeeper, although as a former center back, I've had a lot of fun doing that.
And they point right back at you, I'm sure.
It's easy to blame them, right? I mean, it's throwing stones in a glass house. You should have marked them. Yeah, well, you should have stopped the ball. Simple enough, bro. But good on Peter Fuller for having the confidence, by the way, to, you know, really entrust his team with, for all intents and purposes, is 2 #1 goalkeepers. It's a great luxury to have because many a manager do not. You know, they rely on one with the understanding that the other guy is going to know the system if needed to be called upon. Very rarely are you seeing that position actually rotated.
And having that depth could bode well. We've seen injuries play a factor. Of course, the biggest to Chandler Hoffman for the LA Force, but you see how they have responded. They've come out like a house on fire after the injury to Hoffman. Here's a look at Reddington thus far.
Just over 50% of the time picking up a clean sheet. Also a nice jersey to boot in that hot sauce. I'm going to have to look into that, by the way.
Good look. Here's Marcano now. The left foot shot just wide. Best opportunity we've seen here in the first half. Ryan Marcano.
That's a better build from Chattanooga. The argument would be is getting this ball out in front of him sooner, Trey, and I mentioned that. Great speed, his strength. He can body anybody off the ball, but you got to give him the space to work with. Not able to find it so far. Better opportunity for their striker, though.
Here's Ward now with some space. Hines. Garcia Sosa. They play it wide for Reese Williams. Bends it in there, a one-hopper to Reddington. Good pace on that ball there, nobody running on it. Cameron Woodfin so quick. Here's Marcano again, trying to turn the corner. Good play by Williams defensively. Williams from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And there's a shot wide.
Good on Jake Krim. This could have easily been 1-0 coming off of their Hernandez chance. If not for Jake Krim, their center back stepping down in. Fantastic in the air, Jake Krim is, but he's got tremendous size, and he needs his entire 6'3" frame to get to this one. Finding the trailing run of Juan Hernandez, trying to pick out a corner. Actually comes right down the middle. Not the best take from Juan Hernandez, but excellently displayed defensively for Jake Krim.
Robertson's corner in the air, punched out of there by Gonzalez. Shot by Woodfin deflected. And that one hit towards the near post by Marcano as Chattanooga FC putting the pressure on here, and Gonzalez has been equal to the charge so far.
Well, he's going to get some of the accolades on the backside of this, but he was way out in no man's land coming off his line on the first one, Trey. No reason whatsoever for Kevin Gonzalez to come this far out. Watch him track this on the second one as he gets back up. Too far off his line. Too many bodies in front of him, and he's got the coverage. Frankie Martinez was there. Jake Krim to help him out again. It's got to be better communication and recognition by Kevin Gonzalez. He didn't need to step out.
Another corner kick opportunity for Tate Robertson. Chattanooga FC trying to get on the board first here. Through traffic. And I think it went off a blue jersey there. It will be a throw in on the far side for Stumptown. That was Woodfin in the middle of things. The California kid Gonzalez under fire here. Still a clean sheet.
Just a moment of meditation to clear his mind after that movement. And we've seen him come off his line in previous matches where more than willing to chase down a striker, move out into the corner, carries a truly significant presence to help out the confidence of this back line and help them build. But in a situation like that, have to be smarter. Everybody talks about the vision of center backs and finding the midfielders and moving forward, but the best view of this game is always the goalkeeper, whether it's in a tiny space, as we just saw, or the way that it's situated in front of us right now. Kevin Gonzalez, as good as he's been, that's a misstep from the goalkeeper.
Chattanooga FC has had the chances here. They've been the attacker for the most part. Here's Greenberg, Miami, Florida product.
It's another good look at what I was talking about, though. Reese Williams challenged this space and took it. Greenberg rotated out, and then nobody else followed. Had a real good opportunity on this near touchline. Plenty of space to work with, Trey, where Travis Ward could have easily stepped in. If Greenberg wanted to, he could have attacked himself. And some of that is just the rotation of players that we've seen for Stumptown Athletic and finding the way to have enough positive thoughts within your own frame of mind to take advantage of those opportunities. It's not always going to be roses moving forward. You're going to have to challenge yourself as well. And Dylan Greenberg, whether he goes it alone, Travis Ward picks it up, it's got to be better recognition from Stumptown when they do start to break down Chattanooga.
Bejarano back to the goal. Just across that center line, there's a intercept by Woodfin. Marcano keeping possession. Through the box, McGrath. That's headed towards goal, but wide of the mark. Hofstadter, great in the air, just missing on that opportunity.
It's a good idea as well. The first time around, it's not the best of balls, but the good news is you've got the trailing run on this near touchline, and the fact that they're able to recompose their thoughts, step over it, and then find a presence within the 18-yard box. You could hear the shouts from Peter Fuller on the sideline as well. He was happy with their ability to understand where the space was available. Would like them to be a bit more clinical in this movement going forward, though, Trey, because they've had plenty of the ball to be successful, just not the best decision-making at times.
Peter Fuller told us that last year they played over teams. They wanted to play more through teams this year. Have you seen that? Has there been a combination of both?
Definitely a combination of both. Right now, they're more utilizing the long ball, or at least trying to. You know, the fact that they've gone from, as you touched on a little bit earlier, and we broke it down, you go from a 3-5-2, they play a flat 4 in the middle and pump 3 up top. You want to drop 4 on the back line. A lot of coaches and even fans will go, well, what's in a formation? The formation is the basis for all of your movements going forward. But it's more about, and I mentioned this, the space that's in front of you when that rotation starts to play in.
Space for Woodfin, sets it up, left foot shot, and a roller to Gonzalez. A little bit of traffic in front, but right at him.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. The ball comes to Cameron Woodfin. Does he want to challenge on a one-on-one, cut to the end line, and then bring it back? No, he makes the right decision to come back to the interior because of the fact that if he does get to the byline, everybody's marked. You've got the back post run for sure, but he's got to bring it back across his body, have a go himself, or come square to the top of the 18. That's better decision-making for sure. Because prior, we saw long balls just lifted into the box in hopes that someone was going to run onto it. Sure, I've always said this to you. Just because you can play a ball doesn't mean you need to play a ball. That's much better from Cameron Woodfin.
Very good line there from Devin Kerr. Here's Ward now. Crosses it, opportunity, Garcia Sosa! And he scores for Stumptown to put him in front.
That is your difference maker. Luis Garcia Sosa, the name that everybody talked about in the Legends Cup. 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And where was he going to be the most influential on the field? We've seen him on the right. They've tried him in the 9. It's always going to be the 10, Trey. His ability to break teams down, his understanding of the space. I just talked about spatial recognition for Chattanooga. Garcia Sosa, man amongst boys in that category. Well done to recognize the trailing run. Tate Robertson drops in to help out. Hernandez and McGrath are late to the party. Garcia Sosa steps in, happy to take full advantage of his opportunity.
Ward the assist, and Stumptown AC very much alive in terms of their season, now with the 1-0 lead late here in the first half. And again, it's one step at a time, coach speak, I guess you could say, but if you're able to hang on to this lead and somehow get an LA loss tonight, you control your own destiny in terms of getting to the semifinal round. LA taking on New Amsterdam, a team that's coming off a 4-1 win over 1904 FC.
Baby steps, Trey, right?
One step at a time.
Yep, one thing at a time right now. Haven't exactly had a lot of opportunities tonight so far, but the fact that that's the mark of a team that has the confidence. When you do get those chances, can you convert? I mentioned efficiency for them, how they had provided themselves with a lot of opportunities in previous games but couldn't close it out. They've been chasing a lot tonight due to the amount of time that Chattanooga have spent on the ball. Great job by Rod Underwood and the rest of his boys on the road, that when that opportunity does step out in front of you, excellent closure by Garcia Sosa to tuck this away.
How about Gonzalez surviving the attack from Chattanooga FC, and then you get the goal after that great work on the defensive end.
That's where the halftime conversation from Rod Underwood goes from ripping Kevin Gonzalez a new one to immediately congratulating everyone. And then as they're walking out going, Kevin, let's have a little chat.
Again, the result not as important to Chattanooga FC as it is to Stumptown, but you mentioned form. They have not found the form they had early season, and now trailing here in the first half.
Also remember that you're not always, Trey, going to be the one on the front foot, having all the opportunities, carrying most of the possession. There are going to be plenty of games within your career, both as a player and a manager, where you're going to have to adjust to the opposition and what's being thrown at you. Some of that is playing out for Stumptown right now, and though I'm not overly impressed with how they've played defensively, they've been pretty good. Offensively, they've struggled. But the ability to where you're going to have to sit back, chase a lot more within your own side of the field, and then chase the opposition as well. With the little argument here with Tate Robertson, things getting heated.
Yeah, a physical play there by Robertson, and then a verbal exchange after. Little bump there.
It's kind of funny how just behind us a little bit here, a little talking to with our captains for the referee. Old school, Trey, this is how we made friends, by the way. This is how you made friends. You got stuck in on someone, said, my bad, you know, cup of tea later, buy you a beer if need be. And it's a challenge on the backside for sure, but that right there, I mean, to be fair, for Tate Robertson, he just stands up Dylan Greenberg. Leans his shoulder in, and the challenge, Greenberg didn't like it. If I'm in Tate Robertson's shoes, I'm probably doing the exact same thing, though, because he's just trying to make a play on the ball. Leans over the shoulder a bit too much, though.
Final minute, and then some added time here in the first half. A Luis Garcia Sosa goal in the 39th minute. The difference off a feed from Travis Ward. We'll have 2 minutes of added time here at Finley Stadium, first half. Reddington, the St. Louis product. Hernandez, the captain. Great career with Chattanooga FC, 100 career games. Garcia Sosa, man of the match so far, knocked down there. Well, that's two guys that know their roles, huh? Robertson and Garcia Sosa.
That's spot on. They play them well for sure. Tate Robertson like to help in the midfield.
Delivery there from Hines, and Reddington is on it. Nice effort from the bunch from Matthews, North Carolina, suburb of Charlotte. Chattahooligans making plenty of noise, as they do so often here at Finley Stadium, but they don't like what they've seen thus far. Dixon can't connect there, and we have reached halftime. 1-0 Stumptown AC in front of Chattanooga FC here at Finley Stadium.
Just too flat up top for Chattanooga FC. Hofstadter and Marcano have to do a better job recognizing that when Hernandez or McGrath go to help out Tate Robertson, they've got to drop into the space and challenge this back line of Stumptown. Good on the visitors, by the way, for sitting back defensively, being extremely stout, and then picking and choosing their moments on the other end of the field.
Stumptown AC trying to keep their hopes alive for the postseason. They get a Garcia Sosa goal, and that's the difference. Halftime next from Finley Stadium in Chattanooga. The Stumptown Athletic Club in front of Chattanooga FC at Finley Stadium in Tennessee. 1-0 our halftime score. A consequential game for Stumptown, trying to keep their postseason hopes alive. They need 3 wins in their next 3 matches, and also lost by LA to put themselves in position to get into the semifinal round as you look at the standings entering today. Well, a good effort so far for the bunch from Matthews, North Carolina. And Devin, they got it done with a good play by Ward and Garcia Sosa. It got physical there at the end of the first half.
I love the fact that Rod Underwood understood that Chattanooga was going to be on the ball a bit more. You know, the way that they tweaked their formation, he was willing to make his team chase, and defensively they're set up perfect. Again, I'd like to see them be better once they do start to transition the other way. For Chattanooga FC, they've got to find that form offensively that we saw back in early April in the Legends Cup, because right now this will not get them to progress any further than that semifinal game in a couple weeks.
Chattanooga had their chances, but nothing across thus far.
No, and a good job by Kevin Gonzalez on the first time around here. I love his presence on the back line. You know, he's always willing to come out and challenge the attackers in front of him. But he makes a tremendous mistake here that almost gets his team into trouble. Very fortunate that Frankie Martinez and the back line of Jake Grimm have his back covered, because he was way out in no man's land. Should not have come off here. It was a tremendous mistake. And then going the other direction, Garcia Sosa had trouble in build-up. So did Travis Ward. Not this time around. 39th minute, Ward on the left side, as we've seen him so many times before. That 1-2 punch between Travis Ward finding the trailing run of Luis Garcia Sosa just inside the top of the 18. Put this team out in front, and that's where we're sitting right now.
It's been an overcast, rainy day, but Stumptown AC has a halftime advantage, up 1-0. Stadium in Chattanooga. Chattanooga FC taking on Stumptown. Halftime at Finley Stadium in Chattanooga. Chattanooga FC taking on Stumptown. As an anti-racist organization and in movement towards creating more equitable opportunities and visible change, NISA clubs came together to show unity and purpose. They held an open discussion of current league EDI initiatives with equity committee leadership and paid tribute to Martin Luther King Jr.'s words in pursuit of that dream.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee." Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. Not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
We'll be back to take a look at the stats from Chattanooga next. A look at the first half stats, and you see Chattanooga FC and their dominance in terms of possession and being on the attack, but the only number that matters is that goal for Stumptown AC.
Trey, here's the most interesting thing. Can you remember off the top of your head 4 shots on goal? Honestly.
Yeah, 5 corner kicks for Chattanooga FC, not able to find any answers against Kevin Gonzalez, but Stumptown AC in a pretty good spot. Now, what kind of adjustments do they need to make?
And for Stumptown AC, I don't have an issue with any of their adjustments, especially because they have the goal now. You know, I asked for a presence up top from a striker, but you've eliminated that with the 39th minute goal by Luis Garcia Sosa. For Chattanooga, they have a presence. The problem is they've extended themselves away from the midfield three of Robertson, Hernandez, and McGrath. You got to get someone to drop down into the pocket and help bridge those lines. You need to go from the 6 to the 8 to the 10 to the 9 without having any issues, and they don't have that right now.
Here's James Kasak. No substitutions for either team at the start of the second half. And let's see if Peter Fuller's bunch with that 3-5-2 can get something generated here. Chattanooga FC's next game, their final regular season game, will be against Detroit City FC, and they already have a spot in the championship. Another game to try to figure out their form. Still a half to go here, though. On home turf, they'll have to come from behind to come up with something positive in this one.
Let's see the tempo from Chattanooga now. You know, 1-0, an opportunity to make adjustments at halftime. That's one that you and I were just talking about, Trey, with James Kasak not really having any sort of presence whatsoever on this left flank. Especially the fact that Sean Russell has stayed home. When they push Dixon on the right, if you bring Kasak back for balance, that's one thing, but they haven't had to worry about that a lot. You know, they have the opportunity with the right flank of Stumptown sitting back. Kasak's got to push higher.
Here's Hines with a cross, and he earns a corner kick as Russell got his foot on the ball here. An early opportunity for Stumptown. Garcia Sosa, man of the match so far with that goal in the 39th minute. Use that left foot from the corner. Punched out of there. Robertson. Will we see Brian Bement, Marcus Nagelstad, or Brett Jones? That's a question. Those 3 forwards have made an impact this season. Do they go away from Marcano here? As Alex McGrath goes down, a foul on Robertson. And here comes the yellow. So a yellow on Tate Robertson here. First couple minutes into the second half.
A little bit of that is carryover from the challenge on Dylan Greenberg in the first half. Plenty of space here in transition for Stumptown Athletic. Good little move back inside by Alex McGrath, and then 7v7. Robertson taking him down. To your point with Marcano and Hofstadter, distribution on their end, one thing, but the understanding of what roles they need to fulfill is really the issue they've run into. I mentioned how Juan Hernandez more than willing to join the party dropping deeper into the midfield as Ian McGrath creates the presence moving forward. The problem is Marcano and Hofstadter haven't helped that cause whatsoever.
Oh, fancy move there by Alex McGrath, keeping possession of the ball and then fouled from behind. Fancy footwork there from number 7.
Just about to say that I was shocked she didn't pull a card here, and good on her. Yeah, this has got to be a card 100% on Sean Russell. Takes him down, approaching the top of the 18. This is a chance that could really lead to an opportunity on goal for Stumptown AC. You had to card him here. Pulling from behind, takes him down 25 yards out. One-on-one if he gets through this with Nick Spielman. Yes, I understand Richard Dixon is over the right shoulder, but the fact that as an attacker, you have more space to break down and challenge Reddington is exactly why he gets booked.
It's going to be Bejarano, but Reddington is ready for it, near post. It is college soccer at St. Louis Community College from Kirkwood, Missouri. Trying to keep Stumptown off the board here in the second half. Give his team a chance to come away with something positive here on home turf. Here's Kasak. Great on the attack. Makes his move. Crosses it, and that one sails away high and out of here. You've never had a ball sail on you like that, have you?
Never. You would never see that happen in front of me. 100% in terms of execution from this former center back right here. Conversely, if you talk to any of my coaches, that's why I ended up on the back line.
Well, we saw Kasak really be instrumental early season. It has not played much of a factor thus far in this one. Collision here and a foul on Stumptown. Seen a couple yellows already issued. One to Robertson, one to Russell. And here comes another yellow. Is this Greenberg? No, they're going to get Williams. No, they aren't. We understand now the clarification, it is Greenberg. So that was my initial thought. Number 14, Dylan Greenberg, given the yellow card. And a set piece opportunity from distance for Robertson. Chips it, far post, good header put on. Gonzalez there. And I think that's Hines that is down in the goal area.
But they got to come quick here. This looked like this might have been a head injury on that back shoulder run from Robert Hines as this got whipped in. Oh yeah. He and Ian McGrath colliding on the back post run just in front of Dylan Greenberg. Greenberg immediately calling to the sideline asking for some help.
That's a tough matchup. McGrath 6'4", Hines 6 foot, trying to do his best to stay in front of him.
And just watch the bottom left side of your screen. Right there, Ian McGrath, Robert Hines. Just attacking it. You can't fault McGrath for trying to play this back across. Robert Hines just backtracking the entire way.
Good defender, but he gave away 4 inches there in terms of trying to mark McGrath. So Hines shaken up. He's important on that right flank for this team.
For him, it's been very quiet. A lot of stuff from Chattanooga in terms of the action moving forward has been down the right and trying to find a way through the middle. They have not utilized, and we just talked about it, James Kasak over here makes the job of Robert Hines much easier defensively.
Talked about Chattanooga FC wanting to have better form and be ready for that semifinal round. They can also play the role of spoiler here. If they're able to come up with at least a draw, they can end Stumptown's chances of getting to the semifinal round. It would keep them out of their scouting report for the semifinals. They know they'd be playing the LA Force if they can at least get a draw here.
Tell you what I do like about this, Trey, is, and we talked about it at halftime behind closed doors for Stumptown, I said control the controllables, right? They can only control their performance, and the fact that LA Force doesn't play till tonight.
Finally cleared out of there.
Definitely bodes well for the visitors here, because it's a lot easier for them to go out and only worry about what's in front of them as opposed to, scoreboard watching a little bit.
Oh, and there's a good ball in front and a missed opportunity. Hofstetter could not get a foot on it, and he was in a perfect position to give Chattanooga the goal there.
And watch as this ball comes back through. Almost surprised Hofstetter at the fact that Jake Krim doesn't clear it away. A lot of times as a player, Trey, when these opportunities just drop right on your doorstep, it catches you by surprise and your body starts reacting instead of being proactive, expecting it to happen.
Kasak now in the box. Goes to the other side of the box. It's punched out. Hernandez put a good ball on Hofstetter there. But a missed opportunity. They had plenty of chances in the first half. If they can keep the pedal down here, maybe could square things, but Kasak keeps possession. Robertson. Kasak in the corner. Kasak with a cross. The header, it's high. Good ball right there off the left foot of Kasak. And Hofstetter again, right in front.
Sean Hofstetter, another semi-decent opportunity. The one prior was definitely better. The concern I have here, Trey, is not the fact that Stumptown AC scrambling with all the bodies in the box. It's the fact that ball to Kasak could have happened twice prior. Instead, Robertson comes one way, doesn't play it. Ball goes back into the middle. They play a long ball over the top, then back inside, then back down into the corner. The rotation is there for Chattanooga. Once again, they're just not applying some of the super simplistic build-up methods that Peter Fuller has put in front of them. They're giving you all this space on the left-hand side. Knock that 10-yard ball in front of you, let the ball do the work, and make it easier on yourself.
You saw the shots on goal advantage for Chattanooga FC, but trailing here second half. 11 shots, 4 shots on goal. Kasak reversing field with this one into the far corner. And can't keep it in. Goal kick. Woodfin running that one down. Too late. Kasak plenty of space on the left sideline. Makes his move against Hines. Crosses it and off the mark. Going for the near post. Was that deflected? It was. Corner kick coming.
This is what they want. This is the balance I talked about with James Kasak on the left side. You want the space? Take it. One-on-one against Robert Hines. I'll take that matchup all day. Kasak trying to knock this ball back across. Cheats a little bit on the near post. Catches Kevin Gonzalez sleeping. Well done by the goalkeeper to recover, but Kasak starting to find his way in this match.
Oh, and there's a header above the bar. Chattanooga FC keeping the pressure on here. Spielman. That Garcia Sosa goal standing up so far, but it's been Chattanooga FC putting the pressure on in the second half.
Think about the names that we've called over the past couple of minutes straight. Tate Robertson, always going to be the facilitating factor on the inside. But now you get Kasak going. You've still got the balance on the right side when they start to push numbers over there. Seconds prior, Juan Hernandez finding Hofstadter. These are the guys going forward that you regularly want involved in the buildup and attack. Lacked in the opening 45 minutes. Finally finding a presence here in the second half.
Nice play by Robertson. Trying to keep possession in the midfield. Now Stumptown has it. They appear to have that energy flying around right now. Dixon. Robertson knocked down. They play on. Woodfin challenged over there, and Stumptown player down. How about this update from NISA, Devin? Maryland leading the Michigan Stars 3-0.
Oh my. Dear
Maryland
Lord.
team finding some offense.
Trey, who do we got to talk to? You know, talk to someone in production. Can we get a live look in? Do we have that in the back pocket?
Hey, you know, we know one thing. That's a physical match between those two.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting after it.
You know, the scouting report when you sit in early on in the week and tactically you're finding out where you're going to attack. That's the type of team where you sit back and just, you kind of take a deep sigh and you never look forward to playing them because you know that for 90 minutes, it's going to be presence all over the field in terms of tackles and pressure coming your direction.
Woodfin in the corner. There's a shot by Hofstadter, just missing the mark. 3 times Hofstadter has had opportunities in front of the goal. Misses with that one, just wide.
Much more difficult for him this time around, though. Watch him track back against the grain here. Not a great opportunity, not a bad one either, though. He's at the penalty mark. He has to come back across, pull this out of midair, then bring it over his left shoulder and still have enough momentum to challenge Kevin Gonzalez. That's where you're looking for a late run of a Tate Robertson if this ball comes through so that he can attack the ball moving forward as opposed to the other way around.
There's Garcia Sosa now. They give it away. Chattanooga FC has been in the attacking third, it seems like, most of this second half. Speaking of breathing, Stumptown must be saying, hey, let's just possess the ball here and just get our wits about us, because they've been under siege.
Great touch.
Alex McGrath with a touch. McGrath deflected. That was Spielman that got in front of it with a big play.
That's some kind of ball from Stumptown, and magnificently done by Alex McGrath to bring it down. 40-yard ball up over the middle, and watch him just pluck this out of midair on a dime back across the body. Apologies to Sean Russell. Good recovery by Nick Spielman. Alex McGrath, some kind of technique, buddy. Good on you.
AC fans, this is your last call for beer. Beer sales will end at the 75th minute of the match.
Bejarano. Garcia Sosa. Hines. Garcia Sosa with the shot, and it's turned away by Reddington. Punched high into the air. Headed out of there. Williams. Garcia Sosa crosses that one and earns the corner.
This isn't as much as a surprise as we saw between Hofstetter and Hernandez on the other end, but Garcia Sosa slows his run and starts to drift in towards the shoulder of Sean Russell. If he continues forward here, Trey, look at all the space he has to run right onto this ball. I just talked about attacking the space in front of you. Garcia Sosa needs to come square here. That way when the ball comes back across, he's got a great opportunity to pick his poison against Alec Reddington.
Their third corner. Far post through the box. And we're gonna have a throw in for Stumptown. Hines to do the honors. Finley Stadium, the site of the NISA Legends Cup, site of this regular season matchup. Stumptown AC trying to keep their postseason hopes alive with a win. Chattanooga FC is already into the semifinal round, a 1-0 lead thanks to a goal from Luis Garcia Sosa in the 40th minute. Woodfin makes his move, crosses it. Hines in front of that one. Kasak trying to keep it in, can't get there. And he runs into the flag stick and tosses it in disgust. Well, we mentioned Maryland leading the Michigan Stars. There's a live look in, Devin. 3-0 Bobcats.
Someone's going to deserve a raise, Trey. I hope that your game rate is better than mine, because this is magnificently done by our production team. 3-0 to the Bobcats on the road. It has gone from bad to worse for the Michigan Stars. You do love to see the fact that the Maryland Bobcats, who have gone toe-to-toe with quite a few opponents this season above them in the table, the physical side always poking out. Those boys can play a little bit. Approaching the end of their season, quality victory on the road.
Yeah, that's a statement win right there on the road, no doubt. Closing that one out, final minutes. Chattanooga, meanwhile, looking for the game-tying goal here. 69 minutes gone. from Finley Stadium in Chattanooga. And we have a substitution now. Juan Hernandez, the captain, will check out, and Brian Bement is going to get an opportunity.
And you'll see Hofstetter drop down a bit deeper now as Bement and Marcano now become the two focal points of this front line. Love the work that they've put in on the left side with James Kasak, and you're hoping that can translate to more opportunities for that young man and this team with 20 minutes to go.
Bement returned to action against 1904 FC last Saturday. Had a red card, was suspended 2 games after a game against the Michigan Stars. And a Stumptown player down. This is Ward.
Travis Ward just colliding into the inside in front of our referee here. Hold your breath on this one. Coming back over the top, Hofstetter, head to head. Good on the referee for immediately recognizing those two boys. He did 50-50, trying to find a way to go get the winner.
That's a good sign right there for number 11. From New Egypt, New Jersey. Travis Ward, who has an assist in this one, the goal by Sosa in the first half. Looking for some clarification here, Devin.
Well, it's an interesting stoppage of play here from the referee. Is another whistle to bring it back. You know, drop ball is an easy enough one. The problem is when we cut, you know, the ball was won by Travis Ward. And then when it went the other direction, she immediately blew the whistle. So it is supposed to be a drop ball and a restart of play. Just maybe didn't like the way it bounced the first time in.
Something brewing right there for Chattanooga FC, but that ends at the top of the 18-yard box. Hines harassed by Kasak. Goal kick coming. And 3-1 now. The Michigan Stars getting on the board as they near the end of that one.
Tell you what, I love the Hummel jerseys around this league. Big Hummel fan over here.
You like the kits, huh?
I do. I'm a big fan of all the kits of the teams, the different color schemes, the way that they've still maintained a team's identity and integrity, even though a lot of the kits have similar designs, right? Colors have a lot of play into it, of course, and then you get your sponsors involved, but I just think that they've done a great job finding a way to have personality for all of these kits, even though some can be quite similar.
You can't go wrong with the blue that the home team is sporting here. Good header on, and the shot knocked out, but a corner kick coming. And that was a good play there by Ian McGrath to set up this opportunity.
You wonder if it's going to be just too little too late for Chattanooga FC. Definitely much better here in terms of ideas in the second half. With all the corner kicks, all the shots, got to get something out of it.
And in front, Bennett missing wide. He's put the swivel move on and spun it close to the goal, just outside that near post.
I got to give credit here, though, to Stumptown, because even with Gonzalez off his line, there's still coverage everywhere defensively. Inside the box, if you want to play a little ball to the inside, you've got the near post run covered as well. This team, a couple of times within this match, Trey, approaching the 77th minute, where you've gone, hey, that's a no-no, but still managed to recover on the other side of the ball.
Molly Carpe Jr. is going to check in now for Gio Godoy. Striker hoping to give Stumptown a little something extra in the attacking third. Hails from Liberia. Spielman to Russell.
Not going to be easy for Chattanooga moving forward. Thought maybe they might sit back defensively, but with Marley Carpe Jr., the big presence that he carries, that's 15 minutes to go, and a manager looking for a little help and relieve of pressure. Where they play the long ball out of the top, find a way to play off them, the hold-up play, kill off some of that clock.
So much at stake for Stumptown. They need a win to keep their postseason hopes alive. They also need a loss by the LA Force tonight, and then 2 more wins to get into the semifinal round. Corner kick opportunity again for Chattanooga FC. They've been the instigators here in the second half. Nagelstad in for Woodfin now. Scores mentality on the pitch. Ball delivered in there. And a corner on the other side. Now McGrath is the big body in there, Devin, with that 6'4" frame. Let's see what Robertson does with this one. Looking for McGrath. And he misses with that header. McGrath has dealt with concussion-like symptoms this season. Kasak bends it in. And a foul on Hofstadter. The home fans don't like that call. Well, we talked about this matchup, Devin. Detroit City FC and Chattanooga FC. They're both in the championship round, but they'll be meeting in a regular season game to close out the regular season. Chance to a little scouting report on the pitch before you get into postseason play.
funny how it's played out as well, where Detroit City FC and the fact that they're not going to be playing in the semifinal match due to the results. They've made their way already into the final. But with the time off, they've got to make sure they get a quality result as well, with the gap in between. And the fact that they're not playing in that one semifinal game. For Chattanooga, it's the same story we had coming on to air, Trey. And the fact that still haven't seen the best of them. You know, this is better here in the second half, but 30 minutes doesn't get you a 90-minute performance. That's simple math. And yes, I'm capable of adding, believe it or not. Even though, to argue our previous points in other games, I haven't always been able to put 1 + 1 to make 3.
I rely on you for the mathematics, so I'm glad you're there to back me.
You know, Peter Fuller's going to say the same thing, though. You know, the glimpses that we've seen of this team in the second half, specifically 55 to really the 65th, 70th minute, where was that in the opening half? You know, where was that the entirety of this game? So much talent for this team. Great night to honor their captain, Juan Hernandez. And some of it is just poor decision making. When the space is there, the opportunities are there. Hofstadter not being able to score is one thing. Not building up it is another.
There's an opportunity in the box for Stumptown now. Nothing develops. Hines. Too far out in front, looking for Alex McGrath. Well, you look at the numbers in terms of shots and shots on goal. Clear advantage for Chattanooga FC. Rod Underwood's team is closing in on what would be a big road victory. Play back for Alec Reddington. Dixon. Spielman wide for Russell, looking for a build-up. Dixon for Kasak in the corner against Hines. Robertson, and that's deflected out. Corner kick coming. Rod Underwood, the first black college player in soccer at Furman University. And today is the Juneteenth holiday commemorating the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. Important day for Rod Underwood. A header from McGrath, and a good play made by Gonzalez.
Such a fantastic person, Rod Underwood. Multiple opportunities to interact with him. You can sense the passion behind him and a true understanding of the game. Former Paladin. A couple of big names coming out of that program, of course. Deuce, Clint Dempsey, early 2000s. I had a buddy of mine from the youth program that actually went there with him, Sergey. Produced a bunch of products over the years. Not necessarily known as a soccer powerhouse. They do represent their university to the fullest.
Rod Underwood, most recently head coach of Montego Bay United, FC Jamaica. Here's a shot, and Reddington is there. Timbers assistant, Cleveland City Stars head coach, Portland Timbers assistant, Georgia State assistant coach, well-traveled. Kasak. Great energy at the outset of the second half for Chattanooga FC, and now frustration starting to set in with the fans here.
In terms of resume for Rod Underwood, that's a high score in my book, and I have to side a little bit here with the hometown fans. Feel like the referee a bit lenient on the challenge and pressure here against Luis Garcia Sosa.
Finley and Coleman are going to come in for Chattanooga FC, and Bake Hertz on the Stumptown side. Finley for Russell. And Cutler Coleman. Bake Hertz, who had a goal against New Amsterdam. Ollie Carpe Jr., that big 6'2" frame. Hit the forward spot for Rod Underwood. Late stages here. Stumptown AC trying to hang on and get a win and keep their postseason hopes alive against Chattanooga FC. Chattanooga FC with possession. Peter Fuller's bunch trying to get the equalizer here. Running out of time. Stumptown. The 3-5-2 alignment, does this stay for Chattanooga FC going forward, or is this not enough to know at this point, Devin?
No, it's definitely got to stay this way. Again, they've got the right personnel, they've got the right spacing. They just need to find a way to gain some confidence and honestly just push that button, right? The one that says, okay, let's go do this. That little green button that they haven't been able to pick out so far. Plenty of chances here within this game to not only be equalized, Trey, but be out in front, to be honest.
Garcia Sosa has been fantastic. Had the goal in the 40th minute. Knocked down here. Chance to burn a little time, maybe. Didn't look to be anything serious. And a yellow card's going to come out. They're going to give Spielman the yellow card.
Talked your way into this one, Nick Spielman. Haven't liked the past couple of decisions. Can't necessarily blame them, though. This one is a foul. Not even involved in the play, just turned around. Doesn't agree, wants to make his voice heard.
Garcia Sosa, a difference maker. They feel he's good enough to play at the championship level. He's had a good game today with that goal in the 40th minute. From Juarez, Mexico.
this is just going to be a little touch, Trey, and kill this thing off down in the corner. Chattanooga knows it as well. The way they situated themselves, to be honest, I'm inclined to just have a touch and then knock one right back through. Make them chase.
Yep. Called that as they work the triangle there, burn a little bit more time. Final moments of regulation time here. And if Chattanooga FC can't come up with the equalizer, it's back to the drawing board. So get ready for Detroit City FC in the regular season finale. And Stumptown, you got to think they're going to do some scoreboard watching. If they can get an LA Force loss tonight, they control their own destiny. They'd have to win the next two to make it to the semifinal round. LA taking on New Amsterdam FC at Rio Hondo College in Los Angeles. 6 minutes of added time here.
Well, here's the other thing that we haven't addressed so far, Trey. It's the fact that if Stumptown can see this out, they've done their job. Now the pressure reverts back to LA Force. All the talk coming in was Stumptown AC going to get a result. They're headed in that direction. But now you apply the pressure back the other direction. And I asked Peter Fuller if he was surprised that New Amsterdam was able to get a result against 1904. And he said, you know what, to be honest, I wasn't. 1904, a very good squad, but they give you the same look over and over again. He likes New Amsterdam's chances, regardless of how LA Force have played. He thinks they're a giant killer, that they could go on the road and get another positive result. That would drastically improve the chances for Stumptown moving forward.
They had got 2 goals from Siobhan John Brown in their win over 1904 FC. 2 early goals in their last match. Still some time here, that added time for Chattanooga FC to make a run at it. Top of the box. McGrath plays it wide. Woodfin. Deflected, and a corner kick opportunity. Maybe their best chance right here. Robertson. And cleared out.
The only thing I don't like there, Trey, is they rushed it too quickly. I understand that time is of the essence, but you had plenty to work with there. And a lot of times in these situations, not only do players rush it, but they don't allow the idea to do something different. Stereotypically, everybody's going to look for that ball into the box, add a couple extra bodies, maybe even bring the goalkeeper up to try and find an equalizer. That's when you can really utilize that to your advantage and catch the opposition sleeping, because Stumptown AC will pack the numbers defensively into the box. A lot of room to play with in and around the top of the 18 to think about.
Substitution for Stumptown. Kyle Carr will come in. Replacing, actually, this is Lovinger coming in for Garcia Sosa on the Stumptown side. Jacob Lovinger. Tremendous game from the midfielder Garcia Sosa. Trying to hang on here. This is McKinley into the box, and another corner kick chance. As Robertson will run to the corner.
Trey, this is what I'm talking about. Check Spielman right outside the top. You've got a 2v1 now, and I understand you want to throw it into the mixer, but you still have the trailing runs here. A little bit of trickery. Pull Stumptown out of their shape.
Double digits in terms of corner kicks. There it is. You called it. Spielman. And it was deflected by Alex McGrath. And they got a chance at a counter the other way. Into the middle. Shot! And it's turned away. Great chance for Kyle Carr coming in off the bench right there.
Scenes here at Finley, and well done to understand that they've got the space. The problem is a bit too nonchalant playing this ball into the box. Got to be faster from Spielman. Good job on the other side. Reddington did have it covered on the near post.
Spielman back to the keeper, Reddington. Little time to waste now. Robertson, maybe one more last chance here in the attacking third for Chattanooga. They pull the keeper. McKinley, Dixon, Woodfin, far post, too tall. And Stumptown is on the door, pulling off a big road win here and keeping their postseason hopes alive. Rod Underwood's bunch coming off a tie with Detroit City, and they get a win here at Chattanooga. It appears as we play out the final moments here. That'll do it. 1-0 Stumptown, a victory over Chattanooga FC. How about that win for Rod Underwood's bunch?
Beautiful by Stumptown on the road. Backs up against the wall. No, they haven't gotten the results previously, but to still be sitting with an opportunity in front of them. You can't call the driver's seat because they need help from LA Force. A true test of character on the road. Job well done.
Let's update the standings in NISA. This victory by Rod Underwood's bunch for the time being keeps them alive for the semifinal round. They need an LA loss and a couple more wins to punch their ticket, but an impressive road victory.
They're getting close. Cal United done for sure. LA Force final game tonight as New Amsterdam comes to town. Stumptown, baby steps was what they needed to do come in tonight. 1 out of 3 completed. Still got to take down 1904 and Michigan Stars, but they are a third of the way there.
The visitors from North Carolina with a 1-0 win. We'll be back to wrap it up from Chattanooga, Tennessee next.